Hello and welcome to your learning channel. Today's topic is JavaScript Objects. Today we'll be learning what object is in JavaScript, and we will see how to create an object, and also we see how to access the properties of that object. Now let's get started with what object is. So first of all, an object is non-primitive data type in JavaScript, which is the fundamental data type used to store the collection of multiple data, and these data are stored in a form of key value pairs. And the combination of key value pair is what we call a property. So a property has two parts. The first one is property key, and the second one is property value. We'll see that later in the examples. So now let's see how to create an object. So we have so many different ways to create an object, but today we'll see the two ways of creating an object. The first one we'll see is using the object literal syntax, where you use uh, curly braces. Let's take an example of how to create an object using object literal syntax. So let's say we want to create an object called a person. So let's say we want to create an object called a person. So we use the curly braces to specify the object, and then in this object we have different properties as talked about I just talked about it. So let's say we have the first property called name. So we write a name and then add the colon and then specify the value. The value, let's say, is John. And then to specify the other um, properties, we use a comma and then move on to the other property. So let's say we have age also. So say you have 26, and also let's say we have location. So and let's say is Kigali. So let's take these three properties. So now let's take a look at how to access these properties of the object. So there are two ways to access the properties of object. The first one is using dot notation, and the other one is using the bracket notation. So let's start with the dot notation. So let's say we want to console to log them on the console. So we use console dot log, and then in the bracket we type the name of the object, and then add use dot, and then the name of the property we want to access. Let's say we want to access name property, and then let's see how the output is. So let's so as you can see, we are able to get the our property called name, which has value of John. So as you can see on the console, we are getting John. So now let's see how to let if we use bracket notation. So for using bracket notation, so we don't use a dot, we will come here and use square bracket and then specify in the quotes the name of the property. Let's say this name again, and then let's see the output. So as you can see, we're able to get it. Let's change it a bit. Let's say we want to access the age. So as you can see, we are able to get the age. So let's now take a look at the different the other way of creating an object in JavaScript. So we will we will use the way of using object constructor. So for object constructor, let's say we want also to create object called person. So here, instead of using curly braces, we use a new keyword and then we use object. This here we created an object by using object constructor, which is called person. So now let's add some properties in our object. So we say, let's say the person that name is equal to let's say joy, and also let's say we add person dot age, is equal to 20. So let's take this one. Let's see if we try to access it and see what we'll get. So let's say we want to log them on the console. So let's say let's use the object, the dot notation. So we use person dot name. So let's see on the console. So as you can see, we are able to get it. So now let's take a look the difference between uh, the dot notation, bracket notation, and some of the issues with dot notation. And so let's use this example. So if we try to use the dynamic variable, the dynamic property, let's say we have kept our our property in the variable, let's say name is kept in this variable. If we try to access it using dot notation, so let's say dot key, let's see, so we get undefined. This is the issue with the dot notation. But if we use it, the bracket notation, let's see, as you can see, we are able to get the value. So this is the benefit of using the bracket notation, and it is recommended when the property is dynamic and when you have the property which is long, like if it contains like two words. Yes, it's better, and it is good practice to use bracket notation. So I really thank you so much for watching this video. Remember to like and subscribe. So let's meet next time. So in this video we have seen what object is. We have seen it is a non-primitive data type in JavaScript that is used to store key value pairs, and we have seen how to create object using object literal syntax, and we used also object constructor. So we have also seen the different ways to access the object properties, and I've seen the difference between dot notation and bracket notation. So thank you so much. See you next time.